Hey class, how's it going? So for this assignment, we were supposed to make an ethical decision-making module off of a news article about our selected country, and mine's Germany. So the news article I selected takes a look at Germany and its political movement. The article speaks about how a far right-wing group is expected to win an election for the local state government in Germany. If this party wins the election, it will be the first right-wing party to hold power in Germany since World War II. And the party holds goals to diminish immigration, supports deportation, wants to bring back traditional German families, and holds strong connections with, and wants to create stronger connections with Russia, something that goes inherently against Germany and the European Union. The right-wing party wants to also get rid of support for Ukrainian refugees, as well as adapting more far-right values, such as being anti-LGBTQ. So I made this ethical decision-making model to go over to go over the issue at hand and look at it in a deeper perspective. So when identifying the problem, the ADF is a far right political party in Germany that is projected to win the state election in Germany, in the state of Saxony. And then the far right political party negatively impacts Germany and its people by being against immigration and wanting to deport thousands of immigrants. The party is also against helping Ukrainian refugees, as well as wanting to build stronger ties with Russia. Finally, the group wants to ban pride flags from schools in Germany and give tax breaks to only families who are ethically German. So obviously, when looking at the code of ethics from Germany, the International Social Work, and the NASW, it goes against the dignity and worth of a person. They're obviously trying to tear down groups of people by giving them less services and promoting a lot more inequality. So that's important to look at. And then who should be involved in the decision making when it comes to ensuring that the plan doesn't go through with the group is national officials. They need to work together with German social work organizations like the DBSH and activist groups to prevent these actions by occurring by looking at government laws as well as human rights laws. And then if the AFD, when looking at the values held by the AFD, if their plans follow through, they want to focus on creating a Germany without immigrants, as well as pushing against left-wing ideology. And then the people that would be negatively impacted by these issues, the issues clearly challenge the NASW Code of Ethics as well as the German Code of Ethics by going against values like dignity and worth of a person, social justice, and human rights. So when looking at the goals and objectives, if attained, that could resolve or reduce the problem, the goals that would reduce the problem could include government intervention to ensure that immigrants, LGBTQ members, and Ukrainian refugees have support and rights. Also ensuring that policies that are to be created by the AFD do not follow through by finding ways to find how they break human right laws and German laws. So that's important to look at. And then some intervention strategies to get to maybe stop this from going through would be public education to inform people about how voting for this political party can negatively affect the lives of others. And they can see the human side of the perspective. And then they can also look at having the government intervene by finding laws that go against the the German Constitution, and both of these tactics can be quite effective in helping combat it. So also campaigning for other forms of political parties can help skew away people from wanting to vote for far right. So when choosing the most effective strategy, I feel as though like implementation of all three can really help by taking bits and pieces of all three of the strategies and combining them together to help tackle the situation the best way possible. And then when looking at monitor the implementations, paying particular attention to unanticipated consequences, ethical rule screen. If the AFD wins, it is important to see whether they follow through with their unconstitutional deportations, as well as not giving services to refugees and going against civil rights for groups like the LGBTQ. So it's important to monitor that to see if they're actually going to go against the German law, clearly something that they can't do. So now we're going to take a look at this section over here. So it asks to examine the NASW Code of Ethics to determine if any of the code rules are applicable. Um, so the the rules that take precedence over the social work's personal value systems. Co so some of the rules that apply, such as cultural competence, discrimination, and social welfare. And then when looking at the codes for the DBSH that apply, human dignity, social justice, and political responsibilities to speak up towards injustices. And then codes for the IFSW apply, such as recognizing the inherent dignity of humanity, and then challenging discrimination and promoting social justice. So it's important to see how like this topic really goes against the a bunch of the rules. So um, so if one or more of the code rule apply, follow the code rules. So social workers in the state region must follow the code of ethics to ensure that they are not supporting any sort of actions that could go against the social work code of ethics. So, for example, the local government cannot support they cannot support any of the laws that are going against that. And then if um and then when looking at all the code of ethics go hand in hand and have similar values, and they focus on supporting those affected by the AFD and advocating for them, which is very important when looking at trying to help others. So now when looking at the different type of principles, the first one is the protection of life, and then the AFD attempts to go against this by wanting to send immigrants back, as well as trying to send Ukrainians back to a war-torn country, which is obviously doesn't go well with the principle. And then when looking at equality and inequality, they want to focus on giving more rights towards like traditional German families, such as tax breaks, and things like this obviously can't work if they can't work because it's they're favoring one group of people more than the other. And then when looking at autonomy and freedom, the ban of the LGBTQ flags show how LGBTQ people are not welcome, creating a hostile environment and showing showing that they're not wanted. And then the principle of least harm, um, the ideology of mass deportation and anti-LGBTQ and wanting to kick out refugees put citizens in situations where they feel targeted by their own government, making them feel unsafe and as if they don't belong. And then when looking at quality of life, obviously quality of life decreases if groups of people are felt like they're not being wanted. So it's obviously important to make sure that doesn't happen by not allowing that. And then when looking at privacy and confidentiality, social workers, they need to make sure to protect their clients' information when trying to advocate for them to ensure that there's less to ensure that there's less persecution. And then truthfulness and full disclosure. It's crucial for social workers to want to speak with someone with the group of people being affected so that they know their rights, so they can know how the law works and they can protect the people being affected. So yeah, that was my ethical decision making model for this assignment.